affairs expert from the School of International Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, joins us now. Thank you, sir, for being with us. So, US President-elect Donald Trump has made significant statements about the Panama Canal, Greenland and Canada. Let's consider them one by one, sir. Why has Trump talked about taking over the Panama Canal, even as he has said that even if it involves taking military action? Why does Trump consider it so important to take over the Panama Canal? And could it happen? Would China remain silent?
First of all, I think this is part of the larger Donald Trump scheme of undoing everything that the United States has done in terms of maintaining global leadership in the last 80 years. And of course, in that, Panama Canal is a very strategic link, particularly with the international trade and the shipping really witnessing a boom in the last 30, 40 years. That makes it very significant that if Chinese shipping and ships are becoming much more increasingly visible in Panama Canal, and the skepticism of China's influence in American backyard as if is increasing, it's a matter of concern. But the fact that you can take over territories like Panama Canal, Gulf of Mexico, Greenland and Canada is, I think, audacious. It's showcasing designate-president Trump's confidence or overconfidence in being elected for a second time. And as if whatever he stands for has got an endorsement from the popular electorate in the United States. But let me also remind you that not everything that Donald Trump says comes to fruition. For example, his 2016 campaign was built on building a wall between the United States and Mexico, for which Mexico was supposed to pay. Of course, nothing of that sort happened. But it's also true that he made United States walk out of several international major arrangements that United States was using to emerge and stay as a global leader. So in that sense, it does become disconcerting, and I think several leaders, particularly leaders of those countries, are definitely paranoid. If, in that sense, you are seeing some responses, fairly strong responses
yes.
on the other side.
Yes, Trump has spoken of buying Greenland, saying it is important to US security. He's not ruled out using military force again there. The Danish Prime Minister has called this a fantasy. How important is Greenland for US security? Could the US actually take over Greenland, and how would NATO react?
The United States is a country that has presence almost in all parts of the world. Its naval commands are covering almost entire planet as if. So it's not that the United States doesn't see its security interest in any part, only Greenland is not an exception. But remember, in early 1990s, when Kuwait was swallowed by Iraq, United States was on the global lead to ensure that no sovereign nations can be taken over in that kind of fashion. International boundaries are sanctimonious, and that is now being apparently, projected to something that the United States leadership doesn't care anymore. And of course, this is absolutely not likely to happen the way it is being projected, because the entire international community will stand up against it. It's not possible to simply buy and take over territories. It happened in 19th century, of course, when British colony in the United States was buying other European countries' colonial territories. It never happened after that, and I think today the norm of sovereignty is very strong. So this could be a rhetoric which I don't know appeals who in the United States, but I don't see any possibilities of other than simply creating disruption, making unnecessary, useless headlines. And it's going to make him increasingly isolated, I suppose.
So, considering Trump's significant statements about the Panama Canal, Greenland and Canada together, along with his statement that he would like to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America, what does all this tell us about A, America's relations with these three as well as other countries under Trump's presidency, B, US security as envisioned by Trump, and C, Trump's idea of his own place in world history?
See, we are remembering these days Jimmy Carter. From that time onwards, a very positive relationship and synergy was built between Canada, United States and Mexico. emerging as a NAFTA regional arrangement in that sense. And these two countries share a very significant, critical relationship with the United States, and now ratcheting up unnecessary controversies like renaming Gulf of Mexico or making Canada the 51st state and so on are completely unnecessary. There is no reason why such a proposition should even be considered instead of being publicly made one after another. And I believe that this is only going to make United States increasingly isolated if it starts talking in those lines with its own allies. Forget its adversaries and other countries. It has very strong relationship with NATO members, with Denmark particularly. It has very strong relationship with Mexico and Canada. So these are completely, it really lacks any explanation why such audacious, strange kind of statements not just made, but pursued and insisted again and again. And this is completely disruptive.
Very quickly, sir, is the world likely to be a safer place under Trump's presidency or possibly the reverse?
Two things. One, United States is definitely the most powerful nation, but it is not the sole determinant of how the world will run. Second, within the United States, thanks to the division of power in executive, legislature, and judiciary, and the whole what we call deep state in the United States, president alone is not someone who can do whatever he or she wants. There are whole checks and balances arrangements within the United States and for United States, again at the global level, given all the international arrangements, norms, conventions, treaties, and so on. So it's basically rhetoric. I think this can temporarily put some countries, some nations, some leaders in panic, and therefore need for them to respond to some such uncalled for statements. But I don't think this by itself is going to make a world unsafe in coming times. I think the threats of terrorism, climate change, refugees, and so on, those are real threats. And I don't think the United States can become a global threat in that fashion. It is going to be only counterproductive. It's going to damage United States leadership credentials, and that will actually make space for emerging powers like India, China, and others to take that space of leadership and ensure stability and peace around the world.